Hi, everybody. It's Jim Ostrowski. Been busy with election law season, which is absolutely nuts. So I haven't really done a lot of live streams, but I wanted to get one in before I start the day, which is going to go on for till midnight probably again. So I've been doing some Facebook posts talking about terminology, and it seems like it's kind of a overly technical thing, but it actually isn't. And I just want to get a couple of points across just so people know where I'm coming from. So the problem in anti-politics or opposition politics is there's a complete lack of strategy. And the way I explain this is if you're a youth basketball coach, if you're a general in the army and you don't have a strategy, you would be considered to be an incompetent fool and you would be replaced. So what is strategy? In simple terms, strategy is your plan for victory. Strategy is your plan for victory. So, what's your plan for victory, folks? If you don't have a plan for victory, I can guarantee you're going to lose. Now, it's theoretically possible that you could stumble through. You could run committeemen. You could take over the school board. Whatever your tactic is, that's not attached to any sort of larger strategy. It's theoretically possible you could do that. And like I could get hit by a meteor. Some man in a raincoat could come and instead of opening his raincoat, hand me a bar of gold bullion. It's possible. It's not metaphysically impossible that could happen. People do get lucky. And sometimes there is a somewhat chaotic element to the universe and to human life. But the odds are, I think you can take it to the bank. If you don't have a strategy, you're going to lose. And almost nobody has a strategy. Uh-oh, bird poop. Uh, that's what happens. Murphy's Law. There is chaos in the universe. See? So if you don't have a strategy, you're going to lose. What's the strategy of the liberty movement? What's the strategy of the libertarian movement? What's the strategy of the conservative movement? What is conservatism anyway? I mean, we don't even know. This movement's been conservatism has been a movement for like 50 years. We don't even know what the hell it is. What is it? So that's why I've written 6 books on strategies. I think the entire rest of the liberty movement has written 0. I mean, I know there's papers out there. There's monographs, whatever. Whatever the other books are, nobody reads them. So I mean, it's like my 6, and they were written a long time ago, and nobody reads them. They haven't had any impact on anything. So my 6 books are still they're out there. People do buy them. People do read them, not in large enough quantities for my taste. So let's just talk real quick, and then I'll wrap it up because I'm out of my bike path. I'm on a residential street, and people might think I'm nuts. So a lot of people are going to think I'm nuts anyway. A lot of people do think I'm nuts. So language. Why do I talk? Why did I post about leftism and progressivism? Because if you have to, whatever the movement is that you're against, whatever the status quo is, there's an ideology underlying it. Now, the ideology may be sincere, it may be phony. In my book on progressivism, I said that, well, progressivism is sincere and phony. Progressivism is sincere and phony all at the same time. In other words, a lot of people, I think huge numbers of people sincerely believe in progressivism. I'll get into that, what that means in a second. But there's also a lot of other people, smaller in number, but very important, powerful people. They use progressivism just to get power. So it doesn't matter though. But still, they use the idea. There's still an ideology. In other words, even if you're using an ideology in some cynical, dishonest manner, ideology, and the reason why these people can use it to get power is that other people actually sincerely believe it, right? So it kind of makes perfect sense. It's kind of like those fit together perfectly. Some people believe in progressivism. Some people use progressivism to get over on other people. But they couldn't do it unless the other people actually believed in it. So in progressivism, I mean, belief, short definition, the belief that for any problem that comes along, there's a government solution. And I wrote a book about this. It's actually an 8-part definition. And nobody has refuted my definition. Nobody has critiqued it. Progressives really don't. Progressivism is not a rational ideology. So, what are they going to do? Come along and refute my theory? No, they don't. They haven't and they can't, because it's true. I've been studying progressives for like, I don't know, 30, 40. So what really bothers me, though, is we can't seem to agree on what the hell the word means. And can we all agree that words and concepts are different? There's a concept of progressivism, which I set forth in my book, which I think is very consistent with the whole history of capital P progressivism. But then there's a word progressivism, and there's no dictionary, so people can use the word progressivism to mean anything they want. But here's the problem. Confusion is bad. If you are confused about, let's do something about it, you can't, because you can't even agree on the words. You can't even communicate what you're thinking in your head. So this is why it's really important to get these words, circle of people that sidewalk's all wet here. At least in the circle of people you're trying to do, with. So here's the problem. So when I wrote progressivism, leftism had really been had not been a major functioning ideology. It kind of got big around 2014, and there's hint going after progressivism because I thought progressivism was the ruling ideology of the country. I wanted to figure out what it was, come up with strategies against it, and that's exactly what I did in the book. Now, then there's been a left surgence since about 2014, actually, and it's been big since then. Moron with a mask, alone in his car. Gotta be kidding me. I mean, half the country is just like, forgive me, Thomas, mentally ill. I mean, really, these people really challenged Zas's theory. So here's the problem. A lot of people use the word progressivism to be it for me to tell anybody how to use words. But I do kind of want to win this thing. And unless we get our words straight, we're going to fucking lose. Okay? Unless we get these terms straight. You fucking lose. and you whatever, you move to some other. So here's the question: if the word progressivism means leftism, we can get into what leftism means, but if you use the word progressivism to mean leftism, what word do you use for the type of progressivism that began with, Woodrow Wilson and Teddy Roosevelt and FDR having in the Woodrow Wilson administration for 8 years, kept on through the Neil, and LBJ, being a worshiper of the legacy of FDR, in fact, giant ego that he had to, FDR in making government bigger and solving all of our problems by doing that. And then Obama and so on, continuing that tradition of just increasing the size of government to solve human problems. What do you call that? What do you call that? Oh, liberalism. Okay, well that's great. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Let's use a word that nobody uses anymore. Like nobody uses the word liberal at all. And so that's just adding more confusion. So that's why I use the word progressivism, because it's rooted in history. And at the time I wrote the book in 2014, it was used in accordance with the sense that I'm using it in the book. In other words, people used it to mean using government power to solve human problems and so on, as opposed to using it to mean leftism. Leftism is the fanatical pursuit of equality through use of state force, which is stupid and evil and so on. I'm writing a book about leftism. I just haven't gotten the book out yet. Maybe after the election law season, I'll get that out. So, got 12 minutes. Barely scratched the surface. So, again, let me just sum up. Stopped at a light here. 7,000 people watching. Wow. Hey, buy my books, okay? So I can keep doing this, because apparently nobody else in the movement is doing it. And if I don't do it, I guess it won't get done. So I got 11 books on Amazon if you want to know more. I have a political dictionary, because again, if we don't know what words mean, we're screwed. We don't know what words mean, we're screwed. So just to sum up, strategy is your plan for victory. I've written 6 books on strategy. The rest of the movement has written, as far as I know, 0. If you want to win in politics, you have to understand the ideology underlying the structure or the movement or the state, the regime that you oppose. And we haven't even talked about this. You have to figure out what it is. Leftism, yeah. What is leftism? Okay, well, I figured out what it is. I'm writing a book about it. Since I came up with my theory, I do see some echoes of it. I'm not saying anybody's gotten it from me. Who knows? Probably what it is. But I have my own fairly unique theory, which I think explains a lot of the facts of the last 200 years. That's kind of like why I like my theory. It's also simple, which, things being equal, a simple theory is better, as long as you're not oversimplifying it. So you need to figure out what that ideology is. I did in progressivism. I explained what progressivism is. I didn't straw man it. It's not straw man. It actually is true. And it's true because if you take my theory and you watch progressive politicians like Chuck Schumer, you'll see, oh yeah, he's doing exactly what Ostrowski said in his book. Yeah, of course. And the things he doesn't understand he's doing, Those are explained in Ostrowski's book too, because Chuck doesn't really fully understand what he's doing. That's the problem with progressives. They're running around, in this emotional therapy session. They haven't really analyzed what they're doing. So I identified the ideology. I defined it. I drilled down on it, and I explained why it's wrong in theory. And I used a lot of concrete historical examples to confirm the theoretical argument. And then you develop a plan to defeat that ideology, which I did and have, and I'm continuing to work on it. And it's at libertymovement.org. I have 11 direct action projects. So again, folks, words are important. You got to get your terms straight. You got to get beyond the level of cliche and do actual thinking. That's really the problem with conservatism is you can't run a movement with cliches, run government like a business. I mean, that's not only a cliche. It's stupid. It's like false. It's a stupid cliche. You can't run government like a business. So when you say, let's run government like a business, it's like, I don't know, let's sail across the ocean in an automobile. I mean, it's physically impossible. You can't do it. It's stupid. So that's about it. That's why I just wanted to explain to people. If people are interested in these posts, go to my Facebook page. The books are on Amazon. 6 books on strategy. It's really only on strategy, but who's counting? And there's the Libertarian Devil's Dictionary is up there. So over and out from the world capital of libertymovement.org, Buffalo, New York.